this is the Namaste. You know, I'm not up on my hippie speak, but I guess it's some sort of hippie word. But it's their white beer. The big difference in terms of, you know, the theirs versus the traditional one is the fact that there's the lemongrass in it. The orange peel and coriander is very traditional for white beers. That is the style that you know, that came out of Hogarten, that Pierre Celis lovingly cared for and resurrected, and then brought to the U.S. as Celis, and then he's probably brewing it someplace in heaven now.
Yeah, he's up there brewing it for all the beer lovers in the sky. So this is definitely a summer beer, wouldn't you say?
Oh, I love white beers in the summertime. They're just so refreshing. They're made with a portion of unmalted wheat, so it's typical to have a little bit of haze, which is actually where they get their white name from. And some of them even glow a little bit white, and this is one of them. This has got a little bit of a glow to it. It's got just a little bit of a haze, just enough to make it luminescent, and it is extremely effervescent. Pick up the orange peel right away, and a little bit of the definitely pick up some of the coriander. There's a little bit of peppery.
Right.
I always, you know, coriander seed always comes to me a little bit like a white pepper, but without quite that weird dustiness that white pepper's got to it. And definitely some of the lemongrass. There's a nice little hint of lemon just on the top.
It's very
subtle.
Subdued.
The orange peel is not quite as subtle.
No, that's right there.
Oh, is that just a very, very refreshing drink? And
absolutely.
Since we've got our first day of, you know, hinting at we might actually get summer this year, we're almost done with spring. We might as well, you know, go right from winter into summer this year. But had a nice day in the 80s. This tastes wonderful. Yeah. I love so much that the white beer was saved. It nearly disappeared in the 1980s. Pierre Celis, who we mentioned a little bit at the start of this, you know, took over Hogarten. Resurrected the style, maybe it was back in the 70s, and, you know, made it a real big hit, sold the brewery, and one of those pieces of just brilliance. What a brilliant move by the guy. Sold the brewery with a non-compete clause in Europe. He promptly took all of his money and built a brewery in Texas making almost identical beer and called it Celis, which was just as lovely as the Hogarten and a little bit less expensive in the United States.
Right. And then he made it up to Michigan. He was working with the Michigan brewery for a while.
Yep.
Brewing it there.
Oh, what's the name of that little town? Just a gas station and a brewery. It's wonderful. What a great thing to have in this town. Weberville. Yeah, no, very, very traditional style in Belgium at one point in time. Like I said, made with about half unmalted wheat. You're getting some of the flavors. You're getting some of the sugars are getting broken down, but it's very tough to do so. It keeps the beer very, very light, very refreshing. You get that distinctive haze, but it really, if it's done just right, you almost get a little bit of luminosity about it, which is where it got the name wit beer. And then, you know, a little bit of spicing intentionally added, coriander and orange peel being the most traditional, to brighten it up a little bit and keep it. You know, and then the other part is the high level of carbonation is not atypical, especially in the bottled versions.
Yeah.
Not necessarily as high a carbonation level as the German Weizen style, but close. I'm not sure I had a chance to taste this one before. This is lovely.
Yeah, it's very light on the palate. I mean, the spices aren't overwhelming at all. No. They just add a little bit of a note to it. It's almost kind of got a shandy-like, you know, it's almost got a little bit of a lemonade kind of flavor. Not quite, but a little bit without having to add anything to it. So that's it's
a really pleasant surprise after last week's episode of 8, 12, 18%. You know.
Yeah, I know. It practically tastes like lemonade compared to those beers.
It's only 5%. It doesn't really count as beer at all. Well, Jeremy, cheers.
Cheers. I guess it's going to be summer after all.
Yeah, some hope.